Everybody struggles with desire. Today we have many ways to manage it. You can watch Netflix, scroll YouTube, or stare at your phone until the feeling fades. Some people pay for company. Others handle it alone, in private. A few master the urge through faith or long practice. Modern life hands us privacy, distraction, and choice. Let's take it all away. About 3,200 years ago, in Egypt, a woman named Yeyemwaw crossed paths with one of the most powerful workers in her village. His name was Paneb, and he led the crews that cut royal tombs at Deir el-Medina. Papyrus Salt 124 records the accusation against him, that he tore away her clothing, threw her against a wall, and forced himself on her. Paneb had rank. Yeyemwaw had few ways to make him answer for what he did. Now flip it around. Around 1200 BCE, Egyptian scribes copied a story that placed a man on the receiving end, the tale of two brothers. Bata works for his older brother, Anubis. While Anubis is away, his wife tries to pull Bata into her bed. Bata refuses. She fears he will expose her, so she tears her clothes and accuses him instead. Anubis believes her and sets out to kill him. Bata escapes, and the truth comes out. One came from a written complaint. The other came from a story. Together they show two fears ancient Egyptians understood: being overpowered and being punished after saying no. Desire was natural. The danger began when desire mixed with power, and someone decided that another person's refusal did not matter. Now think about how exposed a person could be back then. Without electric light, night could become almost total darkness. There was no emergency number to call, no camera watching the road, and little dependable protection once someone became isolated. Family offered safety, but living so close together also meant that almost nothing stayed private. But were attacks and false accusations the normal shape of ancient desire? Probably not. Most relationships still grew through attraction, trust, family ties, and shared rules. To see what desire may have felt like, picture a festival night in Uruk, around 3200 BCE. The sun has dropped, but the mud brick still holds the day's heat. Drums pulse near the temple of Inanna, goddess of love and fertility. Beer passes through the crowd as people dance close in the courtyard. Desire had a public place here. People sang about it, prayed over it, and tied it to fertility, marriage, power, and the favor of the gods. From the outside, Uruk might look like a city ruled by desire, but a loud festival tells us little about an ordinary day. Their bodies still ran on the same basic system as ours. Testosterone and estrogen helped create sexual interest. Hunger, fear, sickness, pregnancy, nursing, and exhaustion could lower it. Familiarity changed the feeling too. When people saw the same bodies and styles of dress every day, exposed skin could lose some of its novelty. Desire may have grown from a certain voice, smell, smile, touch, or returned look. Health, humor, strength, skill, and status could also make someone more attractive. A new visitor might draw more attention than someone seen every morning for 20 years. Even in a large city, most people moved within a familiar circle. A stranger could stand out far more than another face on a modern phone screen. A body could also react without the person choosing it. Physical arousal did not mean that someone wanted what was happening. Their world offered few distractions and little private space. Think about it. You saw the same faces every day. The person you wanted might already have a partner, be promised to another family, or be tied to your household through debt, work, or marriage. Their desire was probably much like ours. The difference was that everyone lived closer, so every choice carried farther. And this is where control entered the story. When privacy was rare, families became the police, the witnesses, and sometimes the judges. In Ashur, around 1200 BCE, a young woman could feel someone watching her across a courtyard, but her parents, cousins, and neighbors were watching too. Her relationships affected marriage, property, and inheritance, so relatives kept track of her movements and her company. If she secretly slept with a man, her father could decide whether the man paid compensation or married her. The woman had far less say. The family controlled where she went, whom she met, and what happened if she crossed the line. Young men faced rules too, but women usually paid the higher price. Then came the practical problem. What could a person actually do with the feeling? One of the oldest answers was also the most private. They could take care of it themselves. Yes, that thing. How did they discover it? Nobody knows for sure. They may have touched themselves by accident, noticed that it felt good, and tried it again. Ancient people knew about self-stimulation and wove it into their oldest stories. In one Egyptian creation account, the god Atum stood alone on the first mound and used his own body to produce Shu and Tefnut. Egyptians could place the act inside a sacred creation story, so the idea was clearly familiar. How often ordinary people did it is impossible to know, but for anyone without a partner, it offered release without pregnancy, rejection, or scandal. A few later societies took control much further and changed the body itself. Boys and men were sometimes made into eunuchs, often as enslaved people, prisoners, or palace servants. Girls and women could face genital cutting, often forced on them while young, to control sexuality or prepare them for marriage. Both practices could cause lasting harm without fully removing desire. They were extreme forms of control, forced onto another person's body. For many people in settled societies, the main public answer was marriage. Human children needed years of care. A long-term partner could help provide food, safety, and childcare. Marriage also helped families decide who was responsible for each child and where property would go. Love could matter, but parents, money, rank, and alliances often shaped the match. A person might desire one partner while being promised to another. Another option was to pay for company. In cities across Mesopotamia, Greece, and Rome, people could visit brothels or hire sex workers. This gave some people an outlet outside marriage, but the freedom was often one-sided. Many of the workers were poor, enslaved, or controlled by others, so they had little real choice. Many others simply waited, prayed, buried themselves in work, or remembered how much one secret meeting could cost. As towns grew into cities, one reckless act could damage several families, threaten inheritance, and start cycles of revenge. Customs slowly became written laws. In Babylon, around 1750 BCE, Hammurabi's law said that a man who forced himself on a young woman promised in marriage should die, while the woman should be declared innocent. The law blamed the attacker, though it protected her partly as a daughter and future wife, rather than as an equal person. Hittite law also tried to separate force from consent. If an attack happened in the countryside, the man could be blamed. If it happened inside a house, officials might ask why the woman had not cried out. The location could decide whether the law protected her or blamed her. Then the question reached a Roman military court, where rank could mean life or death. Trebonius was a young Roman soldier. His commander, Gaius Lucius, had pressured him more than once. One night, Lucius ordered him into his tent and crossed the line. Trebonius fought back and killed him. That could have meant his own death, but witnesses confirmed what Lucius had been doing. The court cleared Trebonius and honored him for defending himself. This time, rank did not protect the powerful man. The court accepted that Trebonius had been defending himself. Written law was only one wall. Families escorted daughters. Neighbors watched doorways. Relatives slept nearby. A person who harmed someone could face shame, revenge, lost support, or removal from the group. Those customs could protect people. They could also trap them, especially women, inside lives controlled by relatives. Life stood closer, so every choice reached other people faster. Ancient humans managed desire through private release, long-term partners, family pressure, and punishment. These systems often failed. Powerful people escaped blame, and victims were doubted. But one rule slowly became clearer. Feeling desire gave nobody the right to ignore another person's refusal. The tools changed from family revenge and ancient law to phones, cameras, police, and courts. The basic rule remained: desire never erased another person's right to refuse. If you enjoyed this look at ancient desire, like the video and subscribe for more.